Hello, everybody. This is the Chocolate News Podcast. I'm your co-host, John Alexander Reese.
And I'm your co-host, Andrea Carter.
And if you did not know, the Cincinnati Herald has been around since 1955 and is the leading African American owned newspaper in the greater Cincinnati area and northern Kentucky area. How's it going, Andrea?
It is going great, John. It is the beginning of the football season.
Who
Um,
they?
Who Dey, yes. The Bengals. I'm just going to briefly mention the Bengals. They had a little difficulty on Sunday,
Yeah,
and hopefully they'll get better.
yeah.
Um, they do have new uniforms, which I like that orange color. It was really, really great. Their performance could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, a little bit.
Um, they didn't score until I think second half, second or third. Either it was either the end of the second quarter, beginning of the third quarter. I know they scored, and then they scored a couple times, but still it wasn't enough to carry the game. Um,
Right.
but they start off wonky. They're typical. So I'll see what they're playing Kansas City on Sunday.
That should be interesting.
I'll just pray for them. And though I was conflicted because I have a family friend who I think is a cousin. His son was signed as an offensive lineman for the New England Patriots.
Oh,
So
okay.
in a way, I was supporting the Bengals because I'm a true Who Dey Try Die fan, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I was very proud to watch the offensive line for the Patriots because I know my cousin's son performed well,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was so proud um, for him and his wife and the family to just say, "Hey, Michael." His name is Michael Jordan, just so you know, and Michael did an awesome job performance, and there's a reason why he's a football player. So, um,
Gotcha.
it was just amazing. But anyway, it's been an interesting week historically. We've had a few deaths that hit our community hard. We've
Yeah.
had some pranks that were wrong. We've had political debate that we'll talk about in a second. I mean, we run the gamut from national to local on a lot that has happened this week. So I'm going to try and go through a lot and blend them all together.
All right.
So, as you know, I like looking for unusual takes or things that have happened. And, a lot was focused on the Vice President Kamala Harris and the former President Donald Trump debate. And there were a lot of gems that came out of that debate.
Oh, yeah.
I went to a debate party, and let's just say that I don't think we drank alcohol until after the debate was over. We were so into it. And it was, I mean, just from the beginning to the end, it was masterful. Um, I think anyone who teaches debate in whether at a high school level or a college level or whatever, record that debate. Get a copy of this debate and save it because this is a master class on how to present yourself, present the right attitude, leadership, control, bait your opposition and still get your strategy out there and your message out there and get it done. It was beautiful. I mean, she dangled, she spoke, and Donald Trump, just like as someone said this morning, like a little fish swimming upstream, or like a little puppy dog going after the bone. He took the hook and he took the bone, and as one person said, he couldn't control his mind. What he said and what he threw out there. At one point, someone said they were doing screenshots of Kamala Harris's face, and they said they saw looks of pity because the man was pitiful.
Oh, wow.
Um, and she had to remind him when he kept mentioning Biden, and she said, "Well, you're not running against Biden, you're running against me." And she brought out the fact that he was convicted. He spoke about Haitians and eating dogs and cats, which is not true. I will have to.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, Springfield, Ohio. I've been to Springfield, Ohio. Springfield, Ohio is that quaint little town that you have some great residents and workers who live there, and they should not be disparaged like that. In fact, um, the refugee center has placed a number of Haitian immigrants in Springfield that have taken over several jobs that people didn't want to do, and in a way saved Springfield.
Hmm.
They have a housing issue, but no one was eating cats or dogs or anything like that.
Well, you know
Um,
what? I was looking into that because I was just like, this seems so outlandish. This can't be true. And it, from what I saw, it started from like a 911 call. That man said like some people were taking geese from a pound, I mean, from a pond, and that
yes,
was it. So I don't know how that jumps to eating cats and dogs. I mean, you shouldn't be taking geese either, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know how that jumps all the way to is like a game of telephone, I guess. I don't know.
yes. I mean, there are all kinds of pranks and stereotypes and myths, and I just think that it's kind of sad that
It
people
is.
who want to speak disparagingly about immigrants, and this country was founded on immigration. Our founding fathers were immigrants. They didn't live here. They came
Yeah.
here
Right.
and to populate the country. Immigrants populated the country. And it's just it's horrific that when you watch 45 and you watch the vice president give details. Now they didn't give a lot of details, they didn't answer a lot of questions, but they got whatever message they were trying to deliver. I'm sorry, Trump's message was chaos, bully, division. Harris's message was joy. I'm here for you. I'm going to work for you. These are the solutions I have so far. She didn't give details,
Hmm.
but she's letting everybody know this is what I'm going to be focusing on. Elect me and I will take care of you. And to have people, pundits who interviewed people who still had not made up their minds, how they, I heard some who were still sticking with Trump, and I heard some who were, I like Harris, but, and I was like, there is no but. What is it? What is it you need to say, check that box? What do you need? Is it she's black? She's a woman? You don't think she'll be commander in chief enough? What is it? Because
I think it's just the woman thing. There are just some people who are so misogynistic. They can never bring themselves to vote for a woman, even though so many other countries around the world have done it, and even some women, I'm shocked, will still have that mindset. Even women in my generation, they'll just say, "Oh, I don't think I could vote for a woman." I said, "Why?" I said, "Because I know how women are." I said,
and
what is that supposed to mean?" They said, "Yeah,
women
I don't know. I don't get it."
women are more vicious than men. We're more, I mean, if you think about it, and some of the top throughout history, some of the top leaders in the Civil War, in World War II, I mean, founding this country, were women
Yeah,
who used guns, who
exactly.
led into battle. I mean, Harriet Tubman ran the Underground Railroad, helped deliver slaves to freedom. No man did
Exactly.
that. A woman did that. There have been
Exactly.
women were behind the civil rights movement.
Exactly.
Even though there were men who were leaders, it were the women. The
Exactly.
the DNC convention has been run by black women since the 80s. Come on. And they do it very well, don't they?
Yeah.
So, I mean, people just got to get over themselves down the road. Um, I will say this, there were a lot of gems that came out of it. Um, I think that the one of the best lines I heard is when Kamala told Trump that 81 million voters fired you when he didn't win the 2020 election. When she invited, another gem was when she invited people to go to his rallies and see that people start to leave early because they're tired, exhausted, and bored because it's the same tired playbook. He's been running the same tired playbook for 9 years. And so there are a lot of good gems. She mentioned the endorsements of a number of Republicans who worked for him and but support her. He claimed that he fired everybody. No, he didn't. Either they left or they stayed to the end and they were like, no. Mike Pence, his former vice president, is not even supporting him. Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney both came out to endorse her prior to the debate. And then after the debate, Rachel Maddow read the Instagram post put out by Taylor Swift, who not only explained she watched the debate, what she did, how she's an informed voter. She's decided to endorse Kamala Harris for president, encouraging all of her fans to sit down to read, investigate both candidates, but get registered and go vote. And then put a picture of herself with a cat because she signed it, childless cat lady, which I thought was hilarious.
Right.
So that was the debate. It was great. I don't know if there's going to be a second debate. Harris said yes. Donald Trump is alluding to no. And then we still have the vice presidential debate coming up, I think either at the end of the month or in October. I can't remember when it's going to be. But that's coming up. And Tim Walz said last night that, yeah, J.D. Vance is this Yale guy, and I'm just a public school teacher. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But there's that. And I would say, speaking of the next chocolate news, the Country Music Award nominees came out, and Beyonce was shut out
Yeah, no
all the
love for
way.
Beyonce. I can't say I'm not surprised though.
Um, it's kind of sad.
It is sad.
Um, and I would just say that the Tennessean newspaper, which is the newspaper that covers Nashville, Tennessee, had a wonderful article written by, well, there were two wonderful articles. One was written by Mark Savage, and who is a music correspondent, who spoke about Beyonce being snubbed by the Country Music Awards. Excuse me. And, she had the biggest hit with Texas Hold'em. Everyone just loved it. It's remained on the Billboard chart forever. And it's kind of sad that neither the Cowboy Carter album, Texas Hold'em, did not get any nomination, but Morgan Wallen, who 3 years ago was suspended by his record label for using a racial slur, received the nomination for Song of the Year.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad that, it's hard for Black people to get respect in the country music industry. And to do this, obviously, it's kind of sad. Even though they do have two Black artists have claimed the number one spot on the country music charts, but it's very rare for anyone to get nominated for an award.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's kind of like, she was treated badly when she did a duet with the Dixie Chicks. Well, I'm sorry, the Chicks, they're now called, back in 2016. And, it's just, they were horrified at how badly she was treated.
Mm-hmm.
So this doesn't, but then again, I am not surprised by this because, Nashville is in Tennessee. And what is Tennessee? The legislature is doing in Tennessee. They have very discriminatory practices when it comes to legislation. to comes to Black legislatures that are trying to speak. They even don't treat their women well. Again, trying to conduct business, the state's business. So I'm not surprised. I'm sad, but not surprised. And I
Yeah.
think that will come back to haunt them. Um, because their big person was Taylor Swift until she discovered pop music and she left them behind. Um, Beyonce, one of the biggest stars who can bring money and recognition to the industry and bring new people to the market. Instead, they shut her out. So we have a long way to go in this country, and this is one of the ways why we have a division in the country. Because if you can't see beyond color for talent, that's the reason why, certain people support country music and certain people don't.
Hmm.
That being said, um, good news though, um, I love me some Sade. Ah, love me some Sade. Sade is going to release her first song in 6 years. Um, and this song and the new album that she's going to be releasing in the late fall will be in support of her transgender son, which I think is fantastic. Um, I think it is wonderful that she is helping a group of people who are bashed unrelentlessly for who they are and what they are. And we should be supporting them because they go through a lot to be who they are, to stand up for how they want to live their life. The first song to be released is going to be called The Young Lion.
Mm.
And then her album, um, Transa, I believe it's going to be called, is which was created in conjunction with the nonprofit Red Hot, will arrive in stores November 22nd. Ooh, that's right around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it is.
And it's going to bring spotlight to transgender awareness and both trans and non-binary artists. Um, and I believe in the article, I'm reading off of, this is off of Vibe magazine that I got this in from, a little gem that popped up. And I believe in the album, she is working with Sam Smith, Andre 3000, Kayla, and more. So there's going to be a number of artists contributing to this album dedicated to the transgender community. And I'm just going to applaud and say, well done, well done. And I can't wait for the concert. So that being said, yay.
Yeah.
Um, but on a sad note, keeping with the entertainment theme, the world has had to say goodbye to two people. The first one, in fact, if you look at the Inquirer, they're showcasing pictures of Frankie Beverly, um, the legendary soul icon, passed away today. He was 77. He had been ill for a little while, had stopped performing, I think like 2 years ago. Um, he was a he was just a basic, no, I shouldn't say he was a standard item featured at the Cincinnati Music Festival for decades. And in fact, it got to the point, my young me, I got to the point, I remember when I saw that he was coming, I was like, why? Can't we get somebody new? I used to say that all the time, even though I was the main one up in the audience going, you know, sunshine, rain, blah, 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 wearing, I don't think I wore white, but I was up there dancing and singing along with him. He knew how to work a crowd. He knew how to engage a crowd, and he could go all night if he wanted to in his heyday. So I'm so sorry to hear Frankie died. His family announced his death on his Facebook page Wednesday morning. And then the other death that we have to announce is James Earl Jones. Oh,
Sad.
oh. Now, depending on what generation you belong to, he has hit every generation. Um, he started his career on Broadway He was in the Broadway play The Great White Hope. The play about Jack Johnson, the black boxer Jack Johnson.
Yeah.
Um, he won a Tony for that performance. After that performance, he 3 years after that performance, he was in the film The Great White Hope. That's when I was first introduced to James Earl Jones, when I saw that movie. And I believe
He
that was in black and white too. I don't think it was in color.
oh, was it? Didn't he got nominated for that, right?
Yeah,
Best actor? Yeah.
he got nominated for Best Actor. And I would say, through the years, every generation has known either his voice or his acting skills, whether on television, in a movie, on Broadway. Um, many, when CNN got started, he was the voice of CNN. He said, "This is CNN." I can't do
Hmm.
James Earl Jones, but um, then he was the voice of Darth Vader, and luckily he signed his voice rights over to Lucasfilms. So going forward for Star Wars, whenever they need to use Darth Vader, they're going to AI his voice, and he's given them permission to do that based off the original recording of when he voiced Darth Vader. And he did Darth Vader up until 2019 for everything cartoon, movies, what name you, he did it until 2019. He also was the voice of Mufasa from The Lion King. But I think the biggest thing that people know him from, the Field of Dreams. The guy who said, "If you build it, they will come."
Oh, yeah, that is him.
That's him. I mean, he's performed with everybody under the sun. He was in on Broadway driving Miss Daisy. His son, many people don't know his son. His son's name is Flynn Earl Jones. And Flynn, many women know Flynn because he does voiceovers for audiobooks, especially
Oh.
the romance novels. And his voice is just like his father's.
Hmm.
Yes. So James Earl Jones was 93. He was an EGOT. He had Emmy, he had Tonys, he had wait a minute, Emmys, Tonys, and he got an honorary Oscar and a Grammy. And with that voice, I'm not surprised he got a Grammy. And he was a New Yorker. His wife died several years ago due to cervical cancer. But they had one kid, and he will be missed. He'll be so missed.
Yeah.
And I'm just I'm devastated. But he paid. He was in Conan the Barbarian.
Was he?
Yes, he played the bad guy in Conan the Barbarian. He was Coming to America with Eddie Murphy. He was in The Sandlot. My favorite is Hunt for Red October.
Yeah, he was in those Jack Ryan movies. I forgot about that too.
Yes, he was in Hunt for Red October was with Baldwin at
Right. Yeah, Alec
and
Baldwin.
then the Patriot Games was with what's his name from Star Wars
Harrison
Harrison
Ford.
Ford,
Yeah.
and he was in both of the Jack Ryan movies that Harrison Ford did.
Gotcha.
So and then that his role was taken over with the TV series. I forgot who played it in the TV series.
Okay.
Um, but it was, so he's touched everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm just sad, you know. But on a happy note, I'm moving on. Um, I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl next year because the halftime show is going to be Kendrick Lamar.
Can't wait for that.
Oh, well, after the battle that he had with Drake, we'll see what he's gonna do because it's gonna be interesting. So Kendrick Lamar is gonna be on the Super Bowl. I want to mention a couple of things locally that are going on. One, you probably will see a change soon happening at the Bond Hill, I should say, at the Mercy Health building in Bond Hill. The Hamilton County Commissioners voted on Tuesday to purchase the building for $65 million. And they're going to sell I think they have 5 buildings around downtown Cincinnati and in a couple of neighborhoods to help pay for buying the building. But they're going to consolidate majority of the departments into the Bond Hill building, which will make for an easier time for people to get to county services. There is decent parking. There free parking instead of having to pay for downtown, free parking. Some things will remain downtown because they're going to keep that one building where the county commissioners meet right now. They're keeping that building downtown. But they're going to look at what's going to move, what's not going to move. And I think it's going to be very interesting. But we'll see more traffic in that area probably within the next year because, it takes time for purchase. Make sure the deals follow through. I think they have like 90 days for the deal to be finalized or some other things to happen. But I would say by this time next year, we'll be seeing people driving in and out of that building for county services. So that is something that's interesting to see happening locally, but that's going to bring more people to the Bond Hill area, more businesses using Norwood Lateral on and off, getting to the highway. Ooh, that's going to be a traffic jam. But also the business district down the road from that building will get a lot of interaction. So that's a win for that area in the city of Cincinnati. So well done, county commissioners. But also on a serious note, we need to talk to our young people. We
We do.
seriously, we really need to talk to our young people. Last week, two separate, same issue, two separate stories. Last week, there was a school threat put out on social media. I believe it started out on Snapchat, then it moved to Instagram, then Facebook. I saw it on Facebook, where someone had put on Snapchat that they threatened First Taft High School, then it listed a number of other high schools. Several other students picked up on that threat and shared it, and threat used it as well. That was overall 6 students were arrested off of that one prank that they used, threatening schools. A couple of schools were on lockdown. Eventually, between 6 students, ages between 13 and 16 were arrested. The 13-year-olds were from Euler School. No, I'm sorry. No, I take that back. Wrong. The 13-year-olds were from Roberts Academy.
Mm-hmm.
The 14-year-old was from Taft High School. I believe a 15-year-old or 16-year-old, I'm mixing up 2 of them, were from Euler or from Crystal Del Rey. Now, the Hamilton County prosecutor has come out and she will be seeking the most serious charges against the students. It's not, she said it's not a prank, it's a crime. And it's a crime that this office will take seriously. And we are charging the strongest charge possible, which is a felony of the 2nd degree. Because it's kind of sad. These children playing a prank that caused a lot of fear, lockdown, huge investigation, and even I think one school suspended, who was on the list, suspended business for one day because of that. So they're facing charges right now. Young people before this prank had no criminal charge against them. Now they do. So they're now entered into a pipeline that is a very serious matter. I'm surprised they have not been charged with domestic terrorism, but how serious this was, especially coming off a school shooting in Georgia. And everyone is very fearful about young people going to school in the first place and for their safety. But on a good note, there is a story on Instagram that I want everyone to look for. There is a surgeon by the name of Derek. He is a black man who is a surgeon. Now, I don't know where he's located because it was very generic in the story, but it was on Instagram where you see this woman reading a letter that was written to her after she was recovering from surgery, and she's sitting up and she's reading, and it's a thank you note to her, thanking her for believing in him, because because of that belief and confidence in him, even when he was a difficult student, he carried her persistence on helping him through his life, that when he decided, it helped him to get through medical school, to get through training. And he said it was an honor to save her life, um, and perform the surgery for her. He went further to tell her, after he revealed he was Dr. Derek, that he took care of her costs for the surgery because she saved his life by believing in him, and it was an honor to return the favor and save her life. So
That's
I wanted to leave everyone with a feel good message and a wonderful story about. That story wasn't about color. It was about a teacher who believes in a student, and that student carried that lesson, even though you didn't think he heard it, through his life, to the point of where he was able to return that vote of confidence in her later on. So, and she remembered him when she saw him. She remembered him, and she was so happy and she cried. It's a beautiful story, and that is all the chocolate news for today.
all right. Well, thank you, Andrea. And that's it for today's show. I want to thank Andrea again for all the great chocolate news. Thank you,
Oh,
Andrea.
oh, it's been my pleasure. I just miss my popcorn when I'm watching all this stuff. So,
And remember, folks, you can find more information about today's topics and past podcast episodes at www.cincinnatiherald.com, the Sesh newsletter, or on our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from. I'm John Alexander Reese,
and I'm Andrea Carter.
and have a good day.